I'm slightly higher caliber than that.
Going live now.
Okay. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. What's that? Yeah, you look good. Yeah. Do you want to? Are you gonna mask up, or are you gonna go without the mask? It's up to you.
Cool. Sounds good.
It's up to you. I don't care. I'm doing it just because your wife had mentioned. Yeah, I think it's a good idea since we're standing close. That's at work. That's kind of our rule. It's like if you're close, wear a mask. If you're in your office by yourself, you can take it off.
Good morning, guys.
Morning.
The prevention is so easy.
Good morning.
But if you do get it, it's such a.
Welcome back. Happy Thursday.
Oh, okay.
What's happy about it?
It's raining outside in
Yeah,
Calgary.
we need it. We do.
Morning.
Oh no, sunny here. Sunny here.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
All our plants were telling me how happy they were this morning.
Guys, how do you feel if I promote you for today as a panelist so you can share your screen?
The
Would you like that?
actually good time because everyone usually plants their garden May long weekend, so good soaking the first week. Really.
When we had sun on the May long weekend.
Yeah. 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 Usually we have like snow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One more minute, Blair.
Okay. Yep. No problem. So do we have our attendees from Nanaimo on the call today? Val?
Yes.
Sure do.
Hey, so what's the weather like in Nanaimo?
What's it like? It's a little cloudy.
Little cloudy. Okay.
It's sunny. It's sunny where I am.
Oh, nice.
So
Yeah,
Cheryl must be in a bad spot in Nanaimo. I don't know.
Yeah. I think we're in like monsoon weather here in Calgary. Hey, Louie?
Oh yeah, it's great, but it's definitely 5 degrees. It could be snowing.
Yeah.
Close.
I was sitting in the truck waiting to come into Louie's shop here, and I thought, I'll just wait. It'll blow over. No way. It's just pounding down. The weather guy did say today, I think we're going to reach a peak for rainfall today. It'll be interesting to see how much we get today.
Yeah. Well, that's why they had lowered all the reservoirs because of
Rain coming?
well, when we get our spring melt, which is happening right now, there's a lot of big snowpack in the Rockies.
Yeah.
It's only 10% of the snowpack melt.
Yeah.
It's 90% rain that would create floods, and if it sits against the the eastern flank of the Rockies, and it rains for 3 or 4 days straight, that's where we potentially get floods. Why not? Pandemic. Throw a flood in there, maybe a hurricane or something somewhere else, or a typhoon.
Only in Alberta.
Well, no, that's other parts of the world too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad it's sunny down in the island in Victoria. That's good.
It's good, yeah.
It's going to go up to 14 today.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's good.
Good weather.
And no snow.
No snow. There you go. Yeah. That's a good thing about rain, right? You don't have to shovel it. That's what they used to tell me when I lived in BC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Blair, I think we can start now.
Okay, sounds good. Val, go ahead.
Okay, so welcome. I see a few new ones. Welcome to our Thursday edition. And I would like to remind everyone for a few housekeeping rules. When you're not talking, you can just put your, you can mute your microphones. And then any questions that you wanna ask Blair or Louie there, just you can use the chat box. Make sure that it is set to all panelists or everyone, so we can share in all the discussions or conversations. And I would like to introduce again our guest speaker, Louie Stack. He was born in 1959, raised in Calgary, and the youngest of 7 kids. He started Fitter First in 1985 after a knee and double foot operations on a $3,000 loan from a single mother. After placing pro fitters in all the 1988 Winter Olympic training venues without permission, Louie gained worldwide TV exposure for the company. Louie raced on the national speed skiing team from 1991 to 1995 and reached a top speed of 205.56 kph. In 2016, Louie and his wife Margaret ran Fitter First and won the International Entrepreneur of the Year Award for Prairie Provinces. Again, let us all welcome Louie Stack. And of course, I have Blair Schachterle, the founder of Nose Creek Sports Physiotherapy. Welcome to all people just logging in right now. I'm just introducing our speakers. And Blair has been a physiotherapist for 28 years. He's passionate about keeping people moving to stay healthy as they start to age. Let us all welcome Blair Schachterle.
Thank you.
I'm just welcoming other people coming in. Hello, hello. Welcome. Welcome to our Thursday webinar series. Okay. Blair, I think you have a question to answer, to ask.
Yeah, so our icebreaker question for today is in the chat box. You guys can all figure out how to use the chat box. We want to know, what do you prefer, coffee or tea? So just go ahead and put in coffee or tea, or any fancy flavor of those. So Bill, do we have more coffee drinkers or tea drinkers this morning?
I have tea, coffee, coffee. You have to answer too. Coffee for me, tea.
So if you have any questions you want us to answer, just put them in the chat box as the presentation goes on, and we'll definitely take time at the end. There'll be a Q&A at the end. I'd like to welcome and again thank Louie for hosting our little event today. So today's topic is how do we get our sort of balance and our muscles ready for the upcoming golf season? And more importantly, from a physiotherapy point of view, how do we maintain that core strength and that hip flexibility throughout the whole year, not just getting ready for golf, okay? So I did some, just a quick literature review, and one of the headlines that kind of popped out that I wanted to share with you was one of the research articles said that golf is now more dangerous than rugby. So golf is generally considered a safe sport with low risk for injury. The latest findings, however, reveal that golf is not a low risk activity as we used to think it was. Furthermore, the research of literature with golf-related injury reveals that the severity of the injuries is often underestimated. A Norwegian School of Sports Science and golf-related injuries found that low back accommodated for about 15 to 34% of the injuries, elbows about 17 to 27%, and shoulders anywhere from 4 to 19%. Another study in Australia showed that of the upper extremity injuries, the wrist basically counted for about 10% of the injuries that we would see with the golfers right across that country. The good thing is the benefits of golfing outweigh the risk associated with the sport with virtually all the studies. Investigating the relationship between golf and health concluded that there's a positive effect for both physical as well as mental health, even increasing the longevity. So those of you that are golfers may actually live longer. And the main reason for that is the walking. My retired CA loves golf, and that's why I think he'll live forever, because he doesn't cart, he likes to walk his golf course, and he keeps himself in great shape just for that reason. Also, some findings, some research suggest that the severity of golf isn't taken seriously enough. And the reason for that is they've now done studies that show amateur golfers, 7 out of 10 will have an injury at some point with their golf. And professionals, the guys that do it for a living, 9 out of 10 will have an injury related to their golf at some point in their life. So high injury risk for golf for sure. Now, other studies show that there's about 25 million golfers in the US that have golf-related injuries. And again, the top two is basically the low back injury as well as the elbow is number 2. And successful treatment of this is basically modification of the golf swing, and of course, following up with your physiotherapist for some injury prevention strategies we're going to talk about today. And then I can't emphasize enough, you know, when I used to rehab a lot of golfers when I was in BC, and I do here in Calgary as well, once I've done the rehab with me, I often say, please go back and see your golf pro, because the way your body moves and swings is going to have changed after your injury. You need somebody with a professional eye to help you and coach you and get your swing back to a normal, safe swing so that you'll have less chance of injury in the future, okay? So with the research, there's some common contributing factors that cause sort of these injuries. And so here they are. So it's overuse or overpractice, poor swing mechanics, overswinging, which we'll talk about today, not warming up muscles prior to golf, the rotational stress on the body, which is the biggest one, especially on the spine, incorrect grip on how you're holding, and the incorrect setup. So again, the very technical things that the golf pro would teach you how to manage. And then the traumatic force of the body resulting in a poor executed swing causes extra stress and extra load on all the different body parts. And that's why it's so easy to hurt yourself if you really don't have an effective swing. So again, the importance of working with a local golf pro if you can. Now, there are some factors that can lead to injuries, and the most important thing for us to understand is kind of what are the top 10 injuries. Well, I was just talking to someone earlier here in the office, like almost every body part can get hurt in golf, but here's the top 10. So number 1 is back pain, so especially low back pain. Number 2 is the tendonitis in the elbows. Number 3 is knee pain. 4 is rotator cuff and shoulder injuries. 5 is wrist injuries. 6 is hand and finger injuries. 7 is neck injuries. Foot and ankle, and especially plantar fasciitis, we see as number 8. Hip injuries is number 9, and of course, number 10 is sunburn. So the important thing with the sunburn is that's the largest organ of our body. We really have to protect our skin because most golfers are out during the, the hot time of day, and they're exposing themselves to the sun for 4 to 5 hours, depending on the flow of the traffic through the golf course. So really protect yourself to avoid skin cancer for sure. They're at high risk for that. So getting back to the number 1 injury, which is the low back, and that's one we treat a lot in the office. The average person, 75 to 85% of people will have a back pain at some point in their life. With golfers, the average is going to be even higher because of the traumatic sort of mechanism of golf and the rotation. The other thing is that not only is the rotation, but because we're bent over, we're putting more pressure on our low back. And if we add the rotational load, that's going to cause more problems in our lower back. And so really the key to manage your back and keep you healthy and keep you on the golf course is looking at the modified risk factors like we do with any other back pain patient. So it's looking at your core strength, looking at your spinal sort of mobility, looking at your hip flexibility, and then also looking at your balance. Because if you have poor balance as you're swinging, you're going to be tipsy-turvy. You're going to have an awkward swing, which is going to lead to an injury. Okay. So tendonitis in the elbow. So ironically, there's 2 tendons on either side of your elbow. There's a lateral and a medial, okay, or an outside and inside. On the outside, we call this tennis elbow because it was most commonly seen in tennis when they hit the ball and they twist and they tear the tendon, okay? And then on the inside, we have what we call golfer's elbow. And that's because if we take a golf club and we're swinging the golf club, what's happening quite commonly, and this is how people actually tear this tendon. So we had one of my loyal clients, he actually ripped 50% of the tendon right off the bone. We're coming back and we're swinging, and sometimes we'll hit the ball what they call fat, which means you hit too deep into the ground, and then you may hit a rock, and you hit solid ground, and then there's a huge force that occurs on the inside of that forearm that causes the trauma to that tendon. So that's how we get the kind of golfer's elbow. But most commonly, golfers are more prone to get tennis elbow instead of the medial golfer's elbow because of the rotational strain. So again, as we're swinging, we've got a grip on our club, and as we're swinging, there's a huge rotation and impact that twists those tendons in here and pulls on them with every single swing. So repetitively, we're going to start to break down, have little fraying tears in those tendons. And then eventually, if you get 100 little micro tears, you end up with what we'll call a macro tear. And that's when you realize, oh, something's wrong here, when you start to feel the pain. So if you get tennis elbow, you've probably had it slowly happening over the last sort of 6 months. It evolves very slowly, okay? So, and the big one there is, maybe I'll just talk about it right now. It's just forearm stretches to keep your arms flexible. So it's basically just locking your elbow, grabbing your knuckles and pulling down. That'll stretch your flexors on the inside of your forearm, okay? And then for the outside, you take your hand, put the palm down, and gently pull the wrist down. Now careful, don't torque too hard on the wrist. The important thing here is to actually twist your elbow. I don't know if you can see that or not, but you want to kind of turn it out a little bit. Maybe Louie, come over here, because Louie's got an arm here. I wear long sleeves. Shouldn't wear long sleeves today. So just face the camera. So turn that way, yeah. Hang on here, and now I want you to supinate your forearm. So it's that twist that I'm talking about. So if you do that little twist, so the hole points to the ceiling, you're gonna get that real rotational torque that we need to loosen up that extensor mechanism.
Pushing for the knuckle, you're not yanking the fingers, but you're pushing for the knuckles?
Yeah, you can just kind of gently grab the knuckles and then
twist. It feels
twist
quite different. If you pull the fingers, it's not the same.
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
You can pull, either one, as long as you're getting that stretch. If you pull the fingers down, you're gonna get more of a stretch. So that's a good point, Louie. Yeah, so he's actually getting even better stretch that way. So you can add that in.
Get both.
Yeah, so that's really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, so there's the forearm stretches. Grip strength usually is an issue because we're gripping all day long as we're hitting. So usually people have pretty good grip strength. but it's just getting that flexibility back in that tissue. Because as we talked about before, when you exercise a muscle, the fibers tighten up. And if you don't kind of stretch them out at the end of the workout, they just keep getting tighter and tighter and tighter to the point they're locked up. Now we're putting pressure on the tendons on either end of that muscle belly and causing them to tear. And then knee injuries. Well, shoot, with the knee, what we're doing is we're swinging. If we get an awkward swing, we can't actually stress the ligaments within our knee. We can have a slip or fall on the golf course as well and stretch a knee ligament. As we're aging, we naturally wear the articular sort of surface of our knee. So there's articular cartilage, which is like the linoleum surface in your kitchen. You know, when we first have a new house in the kitchen, the linoleum's nice and clean and smooth. And then as that linoleum ages, you know, especially in the areas like the steps, it starts to fray and break down. The same thing happens in our body. So that's just normal wear and tear of osteoarthritis. With rotation, we're going to get a little bit more torque on the knee, possibly a little bit more wear and tear through there. Most of the golf pros I worked on would always tear their medial meniscus of their lead leg, and I'll show you why. So the meniscus is the shock-absorbing tissue inside the knee. But if you look at your leading knee, let's kind of back a little bit. As we swing and then we come through, this one stays relatively locked. The whole trunk has to rotate on top of that. So we got a lot of twist occurring in the hip and the knee on this side. And for senior golfers, if you're starting to stiffen up a little bit, the golf pros will actually recommend that you toe out a bit. So that as you're swinging through, you're not going to get that extra twist. If you're toe straight ahead, you're really going to torque up that knee and hip. But if you toe out a little bit, that allows for a little bit more opening. And a good golfer, when they're done, as they swing through, their shoulders and hips should face down the fairway. A bad golfer, an amateur golfer, will swing more through their back, and so their back will twist, but their hips will still be back here. We need to make sure you can rotate through. And that's the importance of hip flexibility. So that kind of leads into our demonstration that I'd like to do with you guys today. So what I'd like to do is just quickly go over some hip and knee stretches. So the front of your hips is your hip flexors, which get shortened if you sit all day long. So to stretch those out, we're just going to basically bend, pelvic tilt, and then lunge forwards and squeeze that cheek. So we really open up the front of that hip. Now I'm just looking at my shadow. I can't even see myself because I'm in black. So Louie, do you want to pop up here? I'm going to let Louie be my model. Okay.
There's a mistake.
There you go. So 1 foot forward, Louie, 1 back. That's it. You're going to bend both knees. Put one hand on the front of the belt, one on the back of the belt. Do a little pelvic tilt. So if your pelvis is a bowl, we're going to dump the bowl backwards. Just by doing that tilt, you should feel a stretch in the front of that hip there. And then just lunge forwards 2 inches. And then squeeze the cheek on this side. And that should really give you a strong stretch in the front of the hip. Can you feel that?
Right here.
Yeah, and if you tend to kind of round, some people round up, take your opposite arm, just kind of stick it up in the air to kind of straighten you up a bit. And that'll give you a really strong stretch in the front of the hip flexor. Yeah, so there you go. There's a nice hip flexor stretch. Great position there. Okay, so that's the hip flexor. I'm going to do a couple more in standing, then I'll lay down and do a couple more in my back. So next one is just a calf stretch from all the walking. So you can go up against the wall, Louie, if you want, or the desk maybe. Put 1 foot forward, 1 back. Take that back foot and toe it in, Louie, to the other heel. There you go, good. So now we're going to need a strong stretch on the inside medial calf there. Can you feel that? Yeah. Yeah. And then just lunge forward to get a strong stretch there.
Keep it straight.
You can keep it straight. You can do both, actually. So with your knee straight, you're going to get your gastroc. With your knee bent, you're going to get more your soleus.
Yeah, I feel it up here more.
Yes.
If I keep my knee straight.
That's right, yeah. So, and if you're going to do the soleus one, you want to actually bring your foot a little bit, actually, I'll just get out of your way, a little bit closer to where you now bend both knees. And that would be more of an Achilles tendon stretch, or a soleus stretch. Actually, while we're there, because we're going to talk about plantar fasciitis later on too, the other simple stretch is just for your arch. So you can literally just put your foot up against, I don't know if we could maybe put it over here. People can see it. Right. So we can kind of have, pretend that's a wall. Okay, and then what Louie is going to do is just very gently, he's going to lean his knee towards the wall, and that'll stretch the arch, or the plantar fascia. I don't know if you can see that, or maybe I'll just tilt the screen down a little bit here.
Stairway too, right?
Yes, yeah, you can do that in the stairs as well. So Louie's getting a big stretch in the arch, you can see there, of his size, what is this, 15 feet?
Well, this side is 13.
13, yeah. Louie should have been a swimmer, he's got such big feet there. Okay, good. So that's for the standing stretch. So on our back, there's a couple of awesome stretches. Now, if you've got a good back, you can do a hamstring stretch quite easily by putting your foot up on a chair. So we just grab a low chair. So Louie's just going to basically put 1 foot up on the chair. He's going to have a bent knee. There we go. He's going to lunge his trunk towards his knee. He's going to hang onto his lower leg. He's going to push his knee down now. So just come back here a little bit. If you can, try to put your heel on the chair. Yeah.
So it's straight.
That's right. You're going to be a little bit bent to start. Come forward. And now now kind of straight. You won't feel straight, you'll get an amazing stretch of your hamstring there. So can you see that, folks? So if you lock your knee and reach your toes, you end up stretching your back more than your hamstring. But if you bend the knee first, take the trunk to the knee, and then push the knee down, you'll get a really strong stretch right through here, okay? So that's a really good stretch for the hamstring. Can you feel that? Totally. Now, if that gives you back pain, then you can do that on your back. So if we grab our mat here, actually, do you want to do this? I don't know, working, so grab one of Louie's amazing mats here. I'm just going to lay down.
Lay down my back?
Yes. And then, so if that gives you back pain, then what you want to do, I'm going to stand behind Louie here, is just lay down to support your back. I'm just going to
Blair, if you can tilt the camera.
No.
Yeah. Thanks, Belle.
There you go.
Yeah, no, I got you. There.
Okay.
Yeah, and then what you're going to do is you're going to simply straighten out one leg. So put one leg straight, and then you're going to grab the back of this knee, pull it up, and then just straighten that knee out as far as you can. And that'll give you a nice, good, strong stretch down the back of the leg here, okay, to stretch that hamstring. Now, if you want, you can actually flush your sciatic nerve by just pointing to the ceiling, counting 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. Just go back and forth. I often tell patients do that 10 times if you can to really floss that sciatic nerve, okay?
Right.
Now, if you do that and you're getting back pain, then obviously don't do it. Seek help of a physiotherapist to make sure that we're not kind of aggravating a nerve root in your back, okay? But that's a good way to kind of floss that sciatic nerve. Now, my other stretch, we're going to do one more while we're here. This is one of my favorites, okay? Louie's going to grab the knee, the left knee with his left hand. He's going to pull towards his right shoulder with his left hand. That's it. So come on down this way. Now, you got a bad knee. Do you want to do the other knee? Let's switch knees. Louie's about to have surgery on the knee, so we're not aggravated. So we're going to take the right hand on the right knee towards the opposite left shoulder. With this hand, he's going to grab just above the ankle. Yeah. He's going to maintain that hip and just gently pull up there. It should get a strong stretch in the back of the glutes. Yeah. So most guys
supposed to move that way?
Yeah, you just want to hold the knee foot as far as the hip will let it go, and then pull up that ankle. And you should get a massive stretch back here in the glute. Okay, very important. These are the rotators. So this is going to help with our rotation when we're swinging, right? If we have good rotation.
I'm pulling, but it's not moving anywhere.
Yeah. So Louie, because he sits for a living a little bit and he stands, he's going to be a little bit tight, but that's okay. Yeah, so most patients really enjoy that stretch. So that's a really good one. Okay, so that's kind of the 5 key stretches. Certainly there's more we could do. In fact, we did a couple more with the foot and ankle there. But that would be the flexibility sort of training aspect. Okay. Now, the next thing is balance. So in the clinic years ago, what I used to do was this. I would take a half foam roller. Okay. It's gonna grab a shot of water here. These masks make you thirsty. Okay. And I would take my amateur golfers, and I would say, okay, take a half foam roller and just stand on it. Okay. Get into your golf stance. It doesn't matter whether you're overlocking, interlocking, whatever grip you're comfortable with. And then I just want you to stand there, just address the ball, pretend the ball's right there, and then get your balance, get a comfortable spot there, and then just slowly pull it back a little bit, and then hold there, pull back, hold there, pull back, hold there. And your full swing is when your left leading arm is almost horizontal. That should be the end of your swing right there. A lot of people will tend to overswing, and that's when they get in trouble with their backs. And then as you come down, you just kind of chug down slowly. And you want to draw your belly button up and in. Keep your core tight the whole time, okay? You can sort of work on that and go back and forth. Now, that's with the flat side down. If I take and flip it over now.
Can you just back up a little bit to show us so you can get
Okay,
your all in?
If I do this now, second.
Yeah.
So now what I'm going to do is, there we go, make it more unstable. Okay, so by destabilizing my base, we're going to work my core muscles and my balance nerves a little bit more. So again, we get into that stance as if we're addressing the ball. We're going to get nice and comfy. We're going to draw our belly button up and in. And when I say draw your belly button up and in, golf pro I used to work with in BC used to say, all I tell them is just to draw their belly button a little bit off their belt. And that's all you're doing. It's very submaximal. So it's not like you're big contraction. It's just a little tuck, okay? That's how you sort of do a submaximal, we call transverse abdominis contraction. By doing that little tuck, what happens is it wakes up your abdominals. It also wakes up your back muscles, and it prepares it for the impending load of the golf swing. So we're going to find our balance there. Once you find our center, we're just slowly going to come back. And then just find those spots and just kind of hold until you gain your balance. Every time you move, you sort of challenge your balance a little bit more. Whoa. Once you feel comfortable, and away you go. Okay. And that is quite challenging. And then you can start to move a little bit more into doing it faster. Now, that was what I call good, but if we want to be great, you're going to get our AOB board, and we've arranged the cushions like this, okay, to create kind of that same feel, okay? And then we're going to stand on our AOB board. Okay, so now we come back and we're doing the same thing. So this is now feeling a lot more advanced, a little bit more unstable than that half foam roller did. Okay, so I'm just kind of practicing and going through that. Okay, now I'll let Louie tell you later on maybe how you can make this more unstable or challenge yourself. But the neat thing about this is as soon as you feel it's getting easy, you can progress it and you can make it harder. Whereas with that, you're pretty well stuck with what you got. Okay, so a nice really application for the active office board that I really enjoy working with. Okay, so there's some balance sort of techniques. All right, now the next one is for the abdominals. So the most important abdominals are your obliques, and your obliques run at a 45-degree on average from your rib cage down to your inguinal canal. So they kind of come across like that. And so those are the ones that are important for rotation. So when we're swinging the club, it's what drives our trunk movement, okay? And a lot of this kind of comes from our hips, but it's our trunk we have to keep tight as we're twisting through. If we don't keep our abdominals contractible or swinging, we're at high risk to damage the ligaments in our back, okay? So now we're gonna do what we call kind of an elastic resistance exercise that a couple of young golfers that I was working with early on in my career, they were actually going for golf scholarships down in the US.
I'm going to be the door.
Yeah, so
This goes into a door,
there you go.
but I've become a door now. Carlton, the door, not the doorman, just the
There you
door.
go. Yeah. So just show the folks there. It's got a neat little nub on it. You
Door,
basically,
like it's called. So
yeah, you put behind the door in the door frame, so when you pull it, it stays in there. And then this one actually is a golf grip trainer, so it teaches you how to sort of train your grip. And then what you're going to do is you want tension on it when you start. Okay. So if I maybe come back a little bit here, Louie, if you can. Yeah.
This is the door. This is a light one, so you'd like a heavier one. But
That's right. So we're gonna, again, just the angle sort of this way. It's about a 25% sort of forward angle with our trunk, okay? We're gonna pretend we're flattening the club down, okay? We're gonna draw that belly button up and in, start some tension on it, and then pull to the lead leg, and then back slow. So we pull to lead leg. So anyway, the guy that was going for the scholarship, Louie, he said to me right away, Blair, this feels like a putting stroke. So that's really what it is. Now, when you do this, the first thing you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna do this, because the natural golf swing is all about hip rotation. So you have to kind of consciously stop your hips from moving and just putt the ball. And ever since I got that comment, it makes more sense for me too. And what'll happen, it takes about 6 repetitions, and then all of a sudden you're like, whoo, you can really feel those muscles kicking in here. After you've done this way, this is the forward, then you have to turn around and do the backwards one. So then we'd go the other way.
it's just about engaging, getting the muscles to fire. And
That's right.
engage, right?
Yeah.
Just trying to train the engagement.
Exactly. And so now we're gonna, with Louie here, we're gonna start here, and then we draw the belly button up and in, and we just pull back.
And
It's
a
like
lot
that.
of people say, well, this isn't how I golf. This is bad. I don't want to do it. This is a golf. But this is full contraction of muscles and teaching the muscles to be smart as a total body structure, right?
Yeah, this is awesome. Like, it looks easy, but folks, if you do 3 sets of 10, I guarantee you're gonna feel that in your abdominals.
So
So
both sides is so important. Right?
that's right, yeah.
It's about building a structure that's sound,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
just a crooked building, but
Yeah.
a solid building.
Yeah, exactly. And then golf is about endurance. I mean, if you're an amateur golfer, you're hitting the ball 120 times. If you're a professional golfer, it could be 70 times. So you got to know that you need to do that amount of repetitions if you want to build these up. So doing 3 sets of 10 is really just the beginning. Your goal should be 3 sets of 30 to 40 repetitions if you're talking about starting to build endurance into your abdominals for swinging the golf club, 120 times. The other thing is when you go at the start of the season to the driving range, be careful not to overdo it the first couple times, because you will wake up the next day. If this is my lead side, you'll feel like somebody punched you in the ribs. Those are those oblique muscles that you just contracted, like, you got a big bucket of balls. That was a lot of swings, a lot of contractions in here, and you can often make yourself quite sore, get a bit of a muscle strain. So just be careful with that. It's a little precautionary note. And then planks, yes. So I'm gonna get Louie, because he's such a great model, to go through some planks now. So because the golf swing is about rotation, okay? And it's also about side bend. So as we come through here, we're side bending. So I'll just give you a view this way. As we're coming through, we're side bending this way. So there's a lot of side bending occurring here. So we need to work on kind of our side muscles if we can. So the oblique reach and the side plank are really the most important sort of planking exercise you can do. And what I'll do is just going to show you all 4, just so you can kind of make it like a little circuit and become part of your fitness routine. So first one is just actually on your forearms, Louie. And then level 1 would just be on the knees. So Louie is just going to come up on his knees. Yeah.
You might need.
And then, oh yeah, sorry.
I can't see, so
Right. Let's cue it up here. Sorry. I'm not a very good cameraman here. There we go. Okay, that should work. So level 1, he's going to just lift the hips up the same height as the shoulders. And then you can just drop the feet down if you want.
like that.
Yeah. And that would be considered level 1. And then he's drawing his belly button up and in. And he's squeezing his cheeks, holding there for anywhere from 10 to 30 seconds, depending on how your endurance is. Once that becomes easy, then you're going to go up onto the toes. Okay? So Louie's going to come up on his toes. There you go. Same idea there. And he's going to keep breathing through his nose or his mouth and try not to hold your breath. And you just hold there. And again, anywhere from 10 to 30 seconds is great. Okay? So that's the forward plank. Now onto your side, Louie. Can you pivot on the side, that left knee? Is that okay? Okay.
Yeah.
So the side plank, basically, he's going to have his forearm pointing towards me. Out here, yeah. He's going to put his right hand on top of the pelvis, yeah. And that's the side plank on the side of the knee. So that would be level 1 planking. And if you just rotate a little bit forwards, Louie, that's really going to hit that internal oblique right there. So just a slight rotation will really grab you in that oblique, okay? That's level 1. Once you can do that, 2 or 3 repetitions, 30 seconds, piece of cake. Then you can try straightening your legs out. So I'm just going to show you both levels, so to give you something to work with. Both legs. Oh, yeah, okay. Louie can't load through his knees, so
I can't do it. No.
that's
I
okay.
can't do it.
So, and most people start, and I do recommend always start on your knees until it becomes like really easy. Then straighten the legs out, okay?
It looked like that, and you do it for a long
That's
time.
right. And then you turn forward just a touch. There you go. Yeah, there you go. And then his knee gets sore, so we got to be careful of the knee.
I also have
Okay.
abdominal surgery too.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you got to be careful. Louie's had a major oblique strain, so then you do the same thing on the opposite side, and then the last one is on your back, Louie. Okay, this one should be safe for the abdominals. When you're on your back, it seems really easy because there's a ton of muscles on your back. So you're just going to put your arms up, and just lift your butt up. There you go. You're going to squeeze your cheeks, and you're going to draw your belly button up and in as if you're tucking your shirt behind your belt. Okay, and then hold there if you can for anywhere from 10 to 30 seconds. And then when that gets easy, the progression to that one is straightening one of your legs out. Okay?
And then doing both legs is the hardest. Right?
That's right, yeah. Yeah, and if you can hold both legs up in the air, then you should be in the Cirque du Soleil. Yeah. Okay, so that's sort of the planking. Now, there's one more thing I want to show you guys while I got Louie on the floor, and that's called oblique reaching, okay? Now, we won't do this too hard because we got to be careful with Louie's obliques. What we're going to do is thumb down. We're going to put the left hand just underneath just on top of your left cheek. We're going to just draw the belly button up and in just a little bit, the little tummy tuck, and then just tuck the chin, slowly reach up to the outside of the knee, okay? So can you do that? Is that okay? Okay. But you would be curling up and the feet would be on the floor. There you go, just like that, and then down. So no, I'm not going to make him hold it, but when you guys are doing this at home, try to
sit up basically.
Yeah, that's right. It's like a curl up. So you want to try to hold for about 8 to 10 seconds because physiologically, to get a maximal contraction, we have to hold it for 8 seconds. Okay, so you want to sort of do that. And what I tell patients is do 5 to the knee and then 5 to the hip. So by doing that, when you reach to the knee, you're hitting more of the vertically orientated fibers, okay? Because remember, they go at a 45-degree angle. So these are going to hit more of the vertically orientated fibers. When we reach to the hip, now we're going to hit more of the horizontally orientated fibers. That's it, perfect. And so what I tell patients is reach the back of your hip bone. So don't just touch the hip, but kind of reach and curl up. So when you do that one, there's less lift, there's more rotation, okay? So sometimes patients actually find that one harder. It looks easier, but it's actually harder. Yeah, and then you do that on both sides. So we're doing 5 to the knee, 5 to the hip, and then switch sides. 5 to the knee, 5 to the hip. And that'll really work on the obliques. Just to gently hold your pelvis level. Yeah, a lot of people I find if they don't do that, they're kind of like wet fish. They're a little floppy. So it just kind of stabilizes their pelvis.
So it prevents rotation of the ultra.
Exactly, yeah. So that way it kind of makes your abdominals work a little harder. Yeah, because otherwise you'll just kind of twist your back. And yeah. So there you go. Can you feel that? There you go. And there's a national level athlete.
No, it was.
It was, yeah, retired national level athlete. So if he can feel it, we know it's working, hey? Super duper. So that's kind of the strengthening. Just gonna cue up what else we're gonna talk about here. Yes, and then the foot and ankle stretches we already talked about. And so what I just showed you with him earlier when we started doing the hip and knee stretch, I thought we'll just do the ankle and foot stuff right away. Is what I call the good stretches. Those are the basic stretches. Louie's going to talk about more advanced stuff in a package that he has, which is really neat, that we're going to actually start bringing into the clinic as well. So I'm going to pass the floor over to Louie now, and then he's going to chat about some of those things as well. Okay, Louie?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Mark. So I'm sort of the product side of things. I learned from physical therapists. That's where my life has been spent for 35 years, is going to therapists, telling them kind of what I'm thinking, letting them explain to me what I should be thinking, taking their wisdom and going back and trying to make, refine, or bring to them what they told me they needed. So on that note, I basically heard a lot of great wisdom from this PT, and I happen to have a lot of products that tie into that wisdom. I think the best way to do this, though, is going from the hands down, because we kind of went through the whole body there, but I have a number of products here. So with foam roll, we talked about, I think I can go to start here because it's all here now.
Yeah.
And standing on things, the active office board is an alternative. We talked about it briefly. I will just show you again. The idea behind it was wobble boards are nice to stand on for ankle and recovery of injuries and improvement of balance for athletes and young people and so on. Those are the round wobbly boards. But when you're working on a computer and standing, it's too much of a disruption. So when we choose the stance of your active office board, you can change the legs anywhere you want. And when we make them in certain positions, as you saw him using in this position, it was like a foam roll. It's quite challenging. So this is a very versatile product. You can use it at your stance at desk, which I use all the time, most of our staff does. But you can also make it work for your golf training and a whole bunch of other things. So around the home or an office, it's super versatile. And then you can also use it barefoot and do things like the Bosu proprioceptive trainers on it. This is a barefoot material. It's amazing. It's called the Bosu, which stands in Czechoslovakian for small proprioceptive barefoot training. It's a kind of an ironic thing, but yeah. It's a product out of New York with the doctor that makes it. It's quite unique. And you can also use a spike product on something like that. So then you're getting both the proprioceptive stimulation of the foot and your proprioception of the joint and all the muscles. So you can use it for plantar fascia stretch and a whole bunch of different things. So the AOP is super versatile. If you do have an actual plantar fascia problem, ThermoWedge is designed for exactly getting over plantar fasciitis. If you're wrecked, basically you can't walk, you're going to follow the rules. This comes with an ice pack, a stretching wedge, a massage stick, toe roller, toe flexion tool, and 5-step rehab program done through UBC. If you follow it, it works very, very well. So don't get sidelined by plantar fasciitis. It's a $59 solution and it works. A good long-term solution too is the Pro Stretch. It's been around since 1991. It's a fascinating little product designed by a marathon runner. Those of you that are old enough, what's so cool about Pro Stretch for stretching the calf, the toe, and the foot is if you look at it, Chris Smith, who was a good friend of mine, we worked together in the 80s. He was a mechanic. 2 brake shoes welded together.
Yeah.
And when he made it, he was working on cars and he ruptured his Achilles tendon. He was a little tiny guy, so we were like Matt and Jeff.
Yeah.
He'd be working on cars, bending over them, stretching his calf out, getting the flexion of the foot. And the surgeon said, "How the heck did you recover so quickly?" And he said, "Well, I made this thing out of 2 brake shoes," and they took it to market and sold tens of millions of them worldwide. Wow. It's been all over the world forever. It's super effective. Pro Stretch. You can't go wrong again if you want something in your kitchen that you can step on 2 or 3 times a day. Yeah. It's about a $54 product in Canada. Awesome for the foot and ankle. Okay. The last one we made here in Calgary is our slant board. Again, you can use it in lots of places. 10, 20, and 26 degrees. It's for standing on, forward or backward to get the ankle stretched. You can stand sideways as well for fixed flexion of foot and ankle. And that's the Fit-A-First slant board that's used in something called the BEST test. It's a balanced awareness test for the ankle. Okay. So those are all foot and ankle stretching products. We have all the balance boards for knees and so on. And the other area I wanted to touch on was our golf gym. This is a fitness pack. It comes with 2 golf training products. A spiky ball for massaging your foot again for foot strength. That's one of the things I want to talk about. A beam to lay on, just for relaxation and spinal alignment to the neck, through to the pelvic girdle and opening up the chest. Shoulders for breathing. You can really lay on this for 20 minutes. It's amazing. It's like a foam roller, but totally for relaxation. And it also comes with the medicine ball, which I have here somewhere. And that's used for, it's not heavy, it's like that band, core rotation that we talked about. It's 2 pounds, they do bounce. We're going to be out of them soon, so it's a limited time. It's like a $65 package from Fit-A-First. It's a really good golf training package for core, just those light, easy muscles we talked about. Yeah. So that's also at www.federone.com. And that's kind of that group. Then we have a whole group of products for the forearm and the grip strength that we talked about briefly, and that is the power wedge, something you can use at your computer.
Okay.
We're doing flexion, extension, rotation. So if you have forearm problems or weak grip issues, this is awesome. You can do extension. Rehab product used for the rehab physical therapy industry. And if you also have specific tension problems with your grip and the forearm, this is a super good tool for lossing muscles and dealing with, what's this called?
Tennis elbow, yep.
Tennis elbow
Yep.
or golfers,
Yep.
issues.
Yep.
It's fully adjustable. You can use it all over the whole body, but it's very good. If you have the issue with your forearm, this gets to it.
Yeah, we have that in the office too.
Do you?
Those are great. Yeah, yeah.
Again, they use it for rehab, but you can also use it for prehab and prevention.
Yes.
And that's one of the key messages. Is all these products can help people stay healthy or get healthy. Kind of like you can brush your teeth because you have cavities, or brush your teeth so you don't get cavities. They both serve the purpose. The last thing I want to touch on here is a wave tool. And the Jaku, actually, it's through the lead. These are all massage and care. These are Dr. Hoy's, a natural healthcare product for pain management. You can get this at the Nose Creek, or you'll be able to if you want to. This is a wave muscle massage tool that you can get also to use it on your fingers and hands. It's for, it's like the Graston technique, but faster, right? Have you seen that?
No, I haven't actually.
It's a brand new made by a therapist, surprise, surprise. She's a world famous rock climber, and it's used for all sorts of deep muscle tissue massage. When you're traveling, you're doing things, you can really get into places it's very hard to get to. Therapists will buy it, massage therapists will buy it. Likewise, the Jaku is a massage tool that we carry, made by a young man in the US who's a professional or a college football player. Gets deep tissue massage. A lot of therapists use them in their clinics.
Yeah.
This one comes with 6 speeds.
Yeah.
It goes super deep, and they're awesome.
Yeah.
These are all things available through Fitter that both clinicians and individuals can use that help manage muscle pain. They don't replace the physical therapist, but they help you stay healthy and well, to get you between appointments and through the odd pandemic when they arrive.
There you go. Perfect.
Were there any questions you wanted to ask? What
Well, I just want to make a quick comment. I love this. When I was working with golf pros, when I was in BC, the one thing they said was that I love clients that have really good posture. So using that will help extend and get you into axial extension. Because when you rotate, you want to have a nice pure rotation. If you're kind of slouching at bad posture, well, then your rotation isn't going to be that pure, and you're going to be kind of awkward and tilting and all over the place. So again, this is a great tool to relax on and really get that sort of spinal extension back into your spine. Louie, when you were showing me around the shop last week, actually had some bars, and he was showing me how he's had extensive surgery on his feet, so he's got quite a story of learning how to rehab feet, and he showed me some bars. Did you want to talk about that?
I did.
Yeah.
Fortunately, Ellison I meant to grab one.
Yeah. So this is quite neat to see too. So I want Louie to kind of show us that too today.
We were approached by a gentleman in Ottawa who has something called the Foot Collective, and this is called the Green Beam or the Beam. And basically what it is, we had a discussion about this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let you deal with my feet because they're not very nice, but I make people feel real good when. Did you just pull that camera?
Sure. Yep. We can tilt it down a
What
bit.
you do with the Green Beam is you can stand on, stretch your calves out, of course.
Yeah.
But it's all about foot exercises, and you can literally balance on it, which means you have to have good posture.
Yeah.
Walk on them. Yeah. You can probably use your golf club on it, sort of swinging it a little bit.
You know, do that too. Yeah.
But the whole idea of the Green Beam and the Balance Collective work is doing foot and stabilization work, which means it's like a foundation of a house. You can't build a house properly on a bad foundation. So when you work on balancing, anything you do with bare feet and with your feet, I have to take my shoes off to really be effective on this. The foot has to be working, right? And when you stand on this barefoot, with shoes on, I couldn't actually do anything effective. I haven't been working on this. I'm waiting for literally a meniscus replacement. My left knee was removed in 1979, so I have very poor awareness in that knee. Yet when you play on a balance beam, your foot has to be very astutely aware. Are you going to give me the body blade?
Yeah, sure.
I'll play with that. I'm way off balance right now. When you start doing things like using a body blade on here, I haven't done this for a long time, so I'm not very good at it. Yeah. The body blade gives you co-contractions of muscle groups and forces you to use both sides of the joint to stabilize the core and get everything really firing properly. We talked earlier about working both obliques on both sides. Fundamentally, rowing is strong is our weakest link. And golf is an asymmetrical sport. I do not golf per se, other than maybe once a year. And I think rugby is probably safer, like you said. I don't play rugby either. I stick to safe sports like skiing, steep shoots, road biking at high speeds.
Going to
I'm not
200 kilometers an hour.
Anyways, these are fun things to play with, and they really help the foot get very strong. And strong foot is a very much better thing to have than a weak foot inside a cast.
And
Does that help?
that was great. So the body blade too, like if you have a shoulder, elbow, or wrist injury in golf, I actually get patients, even they can sort of work down here if it's down here, or they can, depending on where they have trouble with their shoulder, what part of the swing, we get them to get right into that position, and then we get them to work the blade, in that position, both shaking forward and backward, as well as kind of. So there's two ways you can shake the blade. You can do a punching motion, or you can do kind of a side-to-side motion as well, to really get the stability and those fast twitch fibers firing again within the shoulder. So this is a really great tool. I love that invention. And that was invented by a California physiotherapist, which is
They also last virtually forever. They make no noise, and they sit in the corner of your office or your house or your kitchen. If I could only have one item in my house, that's probably the item I'd have.
That'd be the one. That's your favorite, eh?
Well,
That's good.
You can use it all the time, and you can do like lunges and do other things with it. And take it through all sorts of dynamic range of motion. And where you lose your coordinated motor effort is where your weakest links are. You can always identify where you're weak.
Okay, good. Awesome. So, and then with golfing, obviously you're walking a lot in golf shoes, and golf shoes aren't always the best for support. So the stronger your feet are, the less chance you're going to have of having problems with your feet and getting into plantar fasciitis. But that thermal wedge is actually a really great product that I'm glad Louie's brought in, because it really kind of gets that tissue linked back fast. The faster we get that tissue linked back and offload that plantar fascia, the faster you're going to recover. So yeah, having strong feet and strong ankles, because as you're walking up and down hills, you're going to be slipping. Sometimes you are prone to getting an ankle injury as well. It is in the top 10 injuries. And grip strength as well. He gave us some examples of things you can do to help your grip. So if you are kind of in the off season, you want to maintain your grip strength if you can, so that you don't have a lot of strain when you first start at the start of the season. And I think that was pretty well it for is there anything else, Louie, for coverage as far as product knowledge goes? You're going to talk about the Wild Toes.
That was.
He's got a neat product to help with people. Like, as we age, our metatarsal arch starts to fall down. So there's two arches in our foot. There's the medial longitudinal, and then there's the one underneath your knuckles, which is the metatarsal arch. And as that flattens, our toes tend to curl, and then we start to get some deformities in our toes. And sometimes they'll actually get pushed to a side, especially that first toe on the inside, they'll tend to shift over, and you get a big bunion there. More common in women than men, just because of the high heel. But you can often get this product that he has that will actually space the toes out, and it just helps with alignment of the feet. So it's a neat little product for those of you that have toes that are starting to get a little bit deformed for a variety of different reasons. We'll all get deformities in our toes as we age. So it's just a product to help sort of space the toes out and really kind of give your toes a bit of a chance to kind of relax. So it's a neat little product. What's that product called again?
Well, they're called Wild Toes. There's a number of them on the market, and unfortunately, they're pretty popular.
Aha! So you've sold
They
out.
come in from Ottawa, made out of silicone, and it so happens we're just sold right out. I can show you them this way. As you can see, they go between the toes. They're silicone, and you can wear them in your shoes. There's a number on the market, and they're made out of silicone. They're very, very stretchy. They're called toe spreaders. So if you look online, you'll see them. Ours and other ones. These are quite well priced. You get them out of Ottawa. And they're very interesting. You don't wear them all the time. You wear them for a couple hours at most. They feel really cool at first. Well, cool. They feel kind of interesting. Again, I have very big toes, so they do stretch over my toes. But we also do, by the way, as you can see in this catalog, the deep marine collagen I use every day. It's a Canadian product made out of cod out of, fish don't carry passports, for the record. The cod is cod in Canada. But that's two Canadian products that we carry. But the Wild Toes are awesome for the toes. And our shoes are jamming our toes together all day long. People went barefoot for the first 9,500 years. It's only in the last 500 we've been wearing shoes mostly. So give your feet, if you have a nice grass at home, go barefoot if you can do it safely. Like, I don't mean cut your feet up, but go barefoot when you can. It's a good idea, as long as you can do it safely and you're not heavily diabetic or you risk a health if you hurt your feet.
Yeah,
Like, protect yourself first. But being barefoot where you can safely do so is a good idea.
Yeah, I agree. So my tip to everyone when they come in with foot pain is I'm like, you got to get into a bigger toe box. You don't want shoes wedging your toes in because that just leads to early wear and tear on your toes. You want a nice healthy toe box. So that's really important. Good. So we're coming up in the hour. We got about 10 minutes left to finish up here. So I just want to sort of open up the question and answer real quick if we can for a couple minutes. Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Size
So
14 shoes, they don't look huge. Well, they probably do, but nice wide toe box, very narrow, barefoot, light, flexible shoe. I have mine with liners on. This is a really nice, easy shoe to wear. Protects my foot. I have lots of room for my monster feet to move, and they don't even look all that stupid, at least in my opinion.
Yeah. What's the name of that shoe?
These are called, I was just given them.
They look really comfortable, yeah.
They're super. They are called, sorry, can you read that?
Let's see here.
Oh, sorry, it's upside down. It's very subtle to read.
It's Zero shoes.
Well, Zero shoes. And these are the newest Keens. They're not that new, they're about 8 years old. These are cool because their slogan is 2 laces and a sole. And if you look at them, they're simply made out of shoelaces, weaved into a shoe, so they never create any pain or discomfort on your feet. You can buy these at Mountain Equipment Co-op or anywhere. They're literally 2 shoelaces weaved into a shoe, put onto a Keen sole. So there are some nice, comfy, kind of minimalist shoes that aren't like 5 fingers that people look at your shoes and laugh. They're great. Well, I think.
Yeah. There you go. All right, Bill, do you want to open up the Q&A? Does anybody have any questions? That was a lot of information, wasn't it? Are you still there, Bill?
Yes, yes.
There she is. She hasn't fallen asleep. Okay, good. So Belle's at her clinic right now on the other side of town, and I'm down at Louie's shop here.
Okay, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, about the shoes. You know, a lot of people use these flip-flops on their shoes, and I'd like to hear your comments on just that in general. Is that something good for your feet or not?
Is this Davis asking the question?
Yeah, it is.
So great question, Davis. As a clinician and a physiotherapist, we maybe come up now here, get back on my active office board. We tend to see a lot of people that come in with plantar fasciitis in the spring because they get out of their winter shoe, they put on their flip-flops, they start walking around. They might even go on a holiday for a week and do lots of walking in flip-flops and come back with raging heel pain and they can't walk. So they're terrible for any support, really. There is no support in a flip-flop. In fact, if it's spongy, it's actually going to accentuate your pronation, which is going to pull more on that plantar fascia. So what I try to tell patients, if they're going on a holiday, I'm like, if you're going to do some walking, you want to be in a good, solid, stable running shoe while you're touring around those sites. But, if you're just in and out of the beach water, that's fine. Then if you're not, you're swimming and kind of laying the beach, that's okay. Flip-flops are okay in that sort of environment. But when you go on your long walks to tour around all these beautiful places, make sure you have your runner on. So you don't want to be doing long distance walking with a flip-flop for sure. Do you have anything to follow that?
Most certainly. And there's a couple other issues also, you might please. The problem people run into is you're going to places, tourist destinations, there's often obstacles, sharp things, there's gravel, rock, curves. Flip-flops don't protect your feet from those risks. When I talk about safety, I'm talking about don't cut your feet up. The risk of cutting your feet, and especially on holidays, is very, very serious because it'll wreck your holiday, and infection is a big concern. Foot infections are a serious thing to watch for. So, and also if you've been in a shoe all winter, going into a floppy flip-flop that you walk awkwardly, and you're using that to protect your foot from the obstacles around you, it's like a 5% insurance clause. It's bad insurance. So have proper shoes for long walks, but the more important thing, if you can get on the good sand that you know is decently safe, walking barefoot and not having to have that floppy obstacle between your foot and the sand, walking in sand is awesome for your feet. But you can't do it for 6 hours straight. If you've been in a shoe all winter, you need short exposures, just like we talked about the golf exercises. You can't just all of a sudden hit 1,000 golf balls in a row. You'll kill yourself. So it's little exposures to develop the foot's flexibility, strength, and stability over time. Everything just takes time to do. It takes time to break down. It takes time to build back up.
Right. Good point.
So one
Questions?
one of the reasons why I would want to have walking shoes that you can use in water is I like to go down to the ocean, and there's rocks inside the ocean, but that's where I go to collect my seaweed to dry. And so I found some that aren't flip-flops, and I think I got them at MEC. Maybe you have them too at your Fitter First. Would you have anything that would be good for the bottom of your feet, would protect from barnacles, but would be waterproof?
Well, waterproof is an interesting one.
Well, not waterproof, but you know,
water.
not
Yeah,
like,
right. We did carry the Vibram Five-Finger brand for quite a while. We all know Vibram shoes because these ones aren't. They make soles on almost all the hiking boots most of us buy. Like we all would have Vibram. It's like Intel inside. All our computers have Intel inside. Vibram makes all the best hiking shoe soles in the world. And then they made the Vibram shoes called Five Fingers, the barefoot shoes with the toes. And that's really just a sole that you put on your foot, right? So we get to carry those for many years when they weren't available in Canada. We were the first to carry them. And now we don't do any shoes because that technology of barefoot shoes that are minimalist shoes are available everywhere. So we got out of that. And I would suggest Mountain Equipment Co-op, or it's my first choice, but things like Atmosphere is also another good choice. There's lots of shoes designed for rafting companies and outdoor use and water use all over the place. And they're a very good choice. They're called minimalist shoes because the soles are very thin and they allow the foot to work in their natural environment. Basically, the foot itself has to work, right? There's flexion and movement. That's what I was talking about. Protection of the foot is first and foremost. And then secondly, getting the foot to function the way it has functioned for 10,000 years and not isolated in a cast like a big, huge, heavy, thick running shoe that isolates it and stops it from functioning.
yeah, so that's what I use for paddling.
Yeah, so I paddle a ton. I would say you're doing the right thing. Going barefoot in that environment would be very risky, and I would actually, I don't like to say people are stupid, but I wouldn't do it. I'm trying not to cut my feet for good reason.
Thank you.
Yeah, great question.
Yeah, very good question.
So do you use those when you paddleboard, Louie?
Yeah, I go to the Bow River and paddleboard upstream, kind of. I never seen anyone else go in that same direction I'm going, and then I float back to my car.
Yeah, nice. There you go. Great workout. All right. Any other questions, Bill? No? Okay, we'll get into the close now. We got about 3 minutes left here. So again, I just want to make sure that you guys understand procrastination is the thief of health. So if you are having any problems that's slowing you down, definitely seek help and give us a shout. And we have two choices today. So you can contact Belle to get some exercise sheets if you want. So we won't send it to you voluntarily this week. We're going to ask that you basically contact her. Our clinic phone number is 403-295-8590. Again, 403-295-8590. Or you can contact Belle if you've got an issue that you want us to deal with, and we can book a free 30-minute virtual session, like a discovery session online, so right in front of your laptop. So any of those of you that are out of town, we can still connect. All right, and then Louie, what's the best way to get a hold of you if you have any questions?
I would say that if you remember the word fitter, F-I-T-T-E-R, you remember Fitter First, but our toll-free number is 1-800-FITTER-1. Our website is www.fitter1.com. And you can call us. I'm on the phone today with Allison here at our showroom, which is closed, but we do have some curbside pickup in Calgary. Our website has lots of information on it. And we are here to help. We've been doing that for 35 years. We're going to continue to do it through this pandemic and whatever else comes along.
Yeah.
We believe that balance is the essence of movement, and movement is the essence of life. We are all going to finally give up to time and gravity, but let's have the best health and wellness we can in the process of enjoying life as long as we can. So thank you for taking the time to visit us today, and thank you for having me as a guest. It's our pleasure to educate as best we can.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Louie. Okay, guys, so in the chat box, put your takeaways. So what did you learn today? What was the one important thing that you took from today's presentation? And then we'll get Bill to monitor our chat box. As I wobble away here on my active office board. God, I love these things.
Yeah, they're very good.
Definitely going to get some both the
Like
office
a
and
very
home.
good cup of coffee. It's just
Yeah,
enjoyable.
it is. It's just enjoyable. It's just like my body feels good when it's just like, it's almost feel like I'm on a paddleboard just floating
Well,
around.
that's exactly what it's like.
Yeah, it's great.
Have an excellent day, everybody. Enjoy wherever
All
you
right.
are.
Thank you very much, guys. Take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hi, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
There we go.
Thank you.
Hey, we finished on time. Here we go. Right on time. First time, I think. We're becoming more time aware now.